ready to go, but apparently he's not ready to go anytime soon. Here's Jason Licht making it official. Where else? Talking to the media on, get used to it, folks, Zoom.
We thought Tom played incredibly well this year, along with the entire team, and we would love to have Tom play here. I can speak for Bruce, I think, as long as he continues to want to play. So if that comes to fruition at some point, then we'd be elated. So, but I'd like to keep those conversations private that we have right now.
Indeed, but it's one move that's going to make him the NFL Executive of the Year, wrangling Brady to Tampa Bay. Obviously, Brady had that whole situation swirling with Garoppolo in New England. That's where we're going to go next, Jimmy G, and that's going to set up our question this morning, which I think you're really going to enjoy. The 49ers GM, John Lynch, no doubt Jimmy G will be back in 2021, squashing all the talk of the reunion with Belichick or the fact that the 49ers seemingly are unhappy with him, his inability to stay healthy. You think John Lynch is dissatisfied with Jimmy G? Listen to this on the Eye Test for Two podcast.
If he's injury-free, is there any doubt in your mind that Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback when you line up in September?
No, not at all. I mean, I really believe that he, just look at the numbers. I mean, he's 24-9, 25-9 when he's played. Though being available is a big part of this thing. So, like I said, we probably as a stated goal, we have to insulate ourselves better, and we got to have better options if he's not there. But, I've watched people go through this in the career where they struggle. It happened to me early, and then I went 8 years without missing a practice. So I believe that things can happen. I believe they will for him. And I really believe that Jimmy is our guy.
What do you make of that? Your former teammate, as strong as could be.
I mean, John. I could find ways where he said he really believes. That does not say he is. That does not say he just really believes as of right now. He just really believes as of right now. But he also says, other options. Other options. So, look, who are you laughing for, Jay?
Because he's stuck, Key. He ain't got no other choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like. What are the other options? Right now? The way it looks, there's really only two other options in my opinion. For the 49ers. Jimmy G, that's giving up a haul to get Deshaun Watson. Figuring out how to satisfy the Atlanta Falcons for a reunion with Kyle Shanahan. Those are really the only two options that I see. If you look at the landscape of quarterbacks as a starters and non-starters, you might as well stick with Jimmy G. If you're not going to go get one of those two, you might as well stick with Jimmy G. What's better than him?
Well, Key, it's interesting hearing Lynch talk. He said, when available. I'm like, when is he going to be available? He's always injured. Listen to this. Since signing his extension in 2018, right? It's been $83 million against the cap. He's just played in 25 games, Key. 25 games. That's $3 million per game for a guy that's not available most of the time. Like that number is staggering to me. So yes, a lot of their players were injured last year, but my thing is availability is one thing. It's a hell of a thing, man. You have to be available to actually be on the field and play, and this guy's always been injured.
Well, he had a freak accident, right, with the ACL. That was kind of, that was one of those deals.
It's like a running out of bounds play.
Yeah, it was a weird deal, but he's not, I wouldn't call him injury prone, so to speak. He does need to be available because he's not come in for one game, miss 3, come back another, miss 2, come back 3 more. That's injury prone. Having a season-ending injury is not injury prone to me. A guy playing the game of, I'm going to play 1 week, but not another, that's injury prone to me. And I don't see that. If he's 20, whatever John said, 25, 29-5 as a starter or something like that, since he's been there, I'm okay with that. He just has to stay healthy. And I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. I think he's a guy that they paid a lot of money to, that they tried to get a lot of the passing game out of when that's probably not his best suit. His best suit is much like a lot of quarterbacks. You play defense, you run the ball effective, and that quarterback can make a few throws here and there, and that is what you get. But when you pay the type of money that you paid to him, all of a sudden you feel like he's got to throw the ball all over the place. Until that Green Bay Minnesota game or Minnesota Green Bay game, when they shut him down from throwing, they were like, oh no, because he threw the ball to the other team one too many times. They ran the ball and they went to the Super Bowl. That is kind of what he is. But when you spend all that money on a guy, you try to make him a passer.
The 49ers' feet are stuck in the mud on this one. They cannot move. It's fine. But, I mean, look, the issues with Kyle Shanahan, I mean, and Jimmy Garoppolo, they're well documented. I mean, I don't think Kyle Shanahan sees him as a long-term future for the Niners organization. So if you run it back this year, that's fine. And then you go on the market and you get somebody that you want next year.
Right. I think if you're an optimistic, bullish 49ers fan, the idea is if the 49ers are healthy, and they've been ravaged at far more than just the quarterback position, that's the most prominent. They've been hurt all over the field. That if you can get a healthy squad back together and a healthy Jimmy G, as Kia said, look, Jimmy Garoppolo completes one pass in the Super Bowl, and we're not even having this discussion because he gets the ultimate mulligan year because he's a Super Bowl champion, having dethroned Patrick Mahomes and company to get there. Jimmy G, G's for Garoppolo, G is also for Genesis. That is the question. The genesis of this morning's question. Which quarterback is facing a make or break season? Jay just made a very compelling case for Jimmy G. Is it Stafford? They gave up the farm to get him. Is it Goff openly saying, now I can at least go somewhere where they want me? Is it Wentz, where everybody's already expecting them to be great year one? Is it Deshaun, with essentially saying no matter what team you put him on, he's going to be great next year? Is it even Sam Darnold, with getting maybe some help at the number 2 position at the draft? Who is it? Which quarterback is facing a make or break season this season, and why? Speaking of Watson, Key mentioned it. What's going to happen with Deshaun? I just mentioned maybe Deshaun's the answer to the poll question for you. not just yet.
Where?
Not just yet.
I thought I missed it.
That's coming though.
Yeah,
That's coming.
I thought you was getting ready to break me some news.
What's better option for Deshaun? The Queen City or the Mile High City? We'll dig into that after Jay has this from Straight Talk Wireless.
Yeah, D. Watson, it's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it, right? So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, do yourself a favor.
Guess questions?
Just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A